Yo, check it. I'm sure if you've been on your spiritual journey, you heard about the story of Jacob's ladder and the Tower of Babel. Both of them represents the creation of the underworld. If you haven't seen my previous video, I highly suggest you to go check it out because I go into deep details about the underworld. So this is Jacob's ladder described in Genesis 28. I always gotta add this for the non-believers. This is Jacob, also known as Yaqub, and also their god El. He was the one that created the underworld. So always question, why is this on a $1 bill before you question me? Basically, it states that the top of the ladder leads to the house of God at the gates of heaven. They mention a city that is called Bethel, but used to be called Luz. They're not talking about a city. They are talking about Elizabeth, the queen, which is Lilith, the god of Venus. She also represents birth. She was a huge factor in creating the vessels we are in. She was originally directly below heaven before she gave birth to Jesus, which is the god of Mercury. Hence why she is named on the top of the ladder. In Genesis 11, they explain the Tower of Babel and how Yahweh, the god of Neptune, the first creation of the underworld, changes everyone's language and scatters them across the world to prevent them from building this tower to heaven. Still to this day, they are continuing building this tower by attempting to create another planet. And this was a recent Venus-Jupiter conjunction. This is the same thing that happened that created Mercury, which is Jesus. They're doing this to disrupt their universe frequency in order to lower our frequency back into the abyss to raise their frequency back towards heaven. So to make this make sense to y'all, the tower is the underworld. It starts at Neptune, which is Yahweh, Atum, Amon, and they continue to build up to heaven. And as y'all can see, Venus was up top. Then they created Mercury, which is Jesus, which is duality. It separates heaven and the underworld, meaning they capped out on the frequency. So if they create another planet, it could possibly push a underworld planet into heaven permanently, or create a whole nother middle ground after the reset. So this is why the United Nations, which is Uranus Neptune, have to invade under the orders of the one true living God to prevent them from ascending to heaven again, to manipulate man's DNA, which is a direct violation of universal laws. This is the reason for the war in heaven, which manifested as a world war down here on earth. So check this out, the children of Uranus. These are the biblical hybrids we all heard about. And as I mentioned before, Neptune has full-blown dragons. This is why the UN is so threatening, until the point they made a verse specifically for them. Men's hearts will fail them for fear and for looking upon those things which are coming upon earth. So basically I'm saying anyone in these vessels that we are in right now have no chance versus the UN. I'm just being honest. This is why the rapture has to happen, or God's image will be no more. So remember this chart right here. I'm about to tell y'all who I believe possesses the spirits or the vessel for these underworld gods after they are cast down.